Imagine looking into a mirror 500 years from now and seeing almost the same face. Your body has stopped aging, but the world around you has not. At first, human immortality sounds like the ultimate medical breakthrough. No old age, no gradual physical decline, and centuries of life still ahead. But removing aging would not simply extend our current lives. It would transform population, families, work, wealth, politics, and perhaps the entire structure of civilization. For this thought experiment, immortality means that biological aging has stopped. People could still die from severe injuries, accidents, violence, or extreme environmental conditions. The human body would somehow need to repair cellular damage indefinitely. Organs, blood vessels, muscles, and the brain would have to remain healthy for centuries. Scientists already study many processes involved in aging. These include DNA damage, cellular senescence, metabolism, protein maintenance, and the gradual loss of normal tissue function. Some organisms show remarkable regeneration or extremely slow aging, but nothing currently allows a human body to remain permanently young and healthy. If such technology suddenly became available, hospitals would change dramatically. Many diseases strongly associated with old age could become far less common. A person reaching adulthood might expect centuries instead of decades. Someone born today could theoretically still walk through a city in the year 2500. Families would become much larger across time. Parents, grandparents, and distant ancestors might all remain alive while dozens of new generations are born. A family photograph could eventually contain people born centuries apart. Traditional family trees might become enormous networks filled mostly with living relatives. And that leads to the first major problem: population growth. Babies would continue being born, while far fewer people disappeared through natural death. Even relatively low birth rates could eventually create enormous populations. Cities would expand as generation after generation remained alive at the same time. Apartment towers might rise higher while new settlements spread across coastlines and plains. Housing could become one of civilization's most valuable resources. Food production would face similar pressure. Farmland, vertical farms, greenhouses, and artificial food systems might need to support billions more people. Fresh water could become even more important. Reservoirs, rivers, desalination plants, and underground aquifers might determine where enormous populations could continue living. Eventually, society would face an uncomfortable question. Could an immortal civilization allow everyone to have an unlimited number of children? Governments might encourage smaller families or long intervals between births. In extreme scenarios, reproduction could become one of the most controversial political issues. But immortality would also completely transform work. Imagine an office where almost nobody ever needs to retire because of age. A young employee could compete against someone with 200 years of professional experience. Careers would no longer fit neatly into a single lifetime. A surgeon might practice medicine for centuries. An engineer could personally experience technologies progressing from primitive machines to systems unimaginable at the start of a career. Such experience could make humanity extraordinarily skilled, but it could also make it difficult for younger people to enter established professions. Education might therefore become a repeating process throughout life. Universities could regularly welcome students who are 50, 200, or 500 years old. People might change careers repeatedly. Someone could spend decades as an architect, then become a biologist, historian, teacher, and spacecraft engineer. Money could create an even larger transformation. Wealth invested for centuries might accumulate far beyond anything possible during an ordinary human lifespan. Landowners and company founders could control assets for hundreds of years. Without major reforms, economic inequality might become deeply entrenched across generations. Political power could face the same danger. Leaders who never age might remain influential for centuries unless laws strictly limit their time in office. An immortal society might therefore require stronger rules for political rotation. Otherwise, the same powerful individuals could dominate institutions across many generations. Relationships would change just as dramatically. A marriage lasting 70 years is extraordinary today, but immortality could turn centuries together into something normal. Some couples might remain together for hundreds of years. Others might treat relationships as chapters lasting decades before moving into completely different lives. Friendship would also take on a new scale. A person could know someone for 300 years and share memories spanning several historical eras. Yet accidental death might become even more emotionally powerful. Losing someone after centuries together could feel different in a society where aging rarely kills anyone. The human brain creates another uncertainty. Our memories are not perfect recordings, and even today they fade, change, and become reconstructed over time. After 500 years, one person might have experienced thousands of relationships, journeys, jobs, homes, and major historical events. How such a lifetime would affect memory is unknown. People might need advanced technologies to preserve their personal histories. Digital archives could become external extensions of memory, storing centuries of photographs and experiences. Identity itself might become more flexible. Someone born into one culture could live long enough to watch languages, borders, values, and technologies change repeatedly. A person from the 21st century might still be alive centuries later. Their childhood world could seem as distant as ancient history seems to us. But immortality could also encourage humanity to think much further ahead. Long-term consequences would become personal rather than abstract. Someone making environmental decisions today might still be alive in 300 years. Climate, forests, oceans, and ecosystems would become part of their own future. Infrastructure might also be designed for centuries instead of decades. Cities, energy systems, and transportation networks could be planned by people expecting to use them far into the future. Scientific research could become equally ambitious. A researcher could begin a project lasting a century and potentially remain involved from the first experiment to the conclusion. Some fields might benefit enormously from this continuity. Astronomy, ecology, medicine, and archaeology could gain researchers with centuries of accumulated knowledge. Space exploration could become especially different. Journeys lasting many decades would no longer automatically exceed the useful lifespan of an astronaut. A spacecraft traveling slowly between stars might carry passengers who personally remember leaving Earth. Some could remain alive when the destination finally appears ahead. But immortality would not remove danger. Space radiation, accidents, disease, violence, and environmental disasters would still threaten human lives. In fact, people expecting centuries of life might become more cautious. Risking death could feel far more costly when hundreds of potential years remain. The greatest challenge might therefore not be surviving forever. It might be building a society capable of handling people who no longer naturally make space for the next generation. Immortality could give humanity extraordinary knowledge, experience, and time. It could also create overcrowding, concentrated wealth, political stagnation, and difficult limits on reproduction. It would not simply make today's world last longer. It would force almost every institution we know to be redesigned around an entirely different human lifespan. And perhaps that reveals something important about mortality itself. Limited time influences our ambitions, relationships, decisions, and the urgency with which we experience life. If you enjoy exploring how science could transform humanity and our future, leave a like and subscribe to WunderAtlas World for more fascinating thought experiments. Until the next wonder.